Coming to you live from the Hellmouth adjacent.
Oh, you got it! Yay!
It's the Popular Cinema Podcast. I'm your co-host Payne,
I'm Bill.
and welcome to episode 69.
Hello.
I got it, Bill, because I'm feeling kind of fresh today. Kind of feeling fresh as a daisy.
Why are you feeling so fresh today? Did you wash
Um,
them nuts again?
did I watch what?
Did you wash them nuts?
Okay, that's just gross. You're going to start off. I mean, so much for our family-friendly rating for this week.
Oh, come on. It's not the worst thing either one of us has ever said on this show. Give me a break.
That's true, but I was hoping maybe we can move more mainstream and go more PG-13 instead of
I think we're
R.
just going to head more towards the R vein. Fuck it.
We every time I go to upload the podcast, I always have to hit the explicit box because
That's how we roll.
yeah,
We just
within
like
the
to
first
curse.
2 minutes we sit there and verify that. You go with the washing the nuts and with the word fuck, and there we are.
Hey,
Explicit
I
rating.
want to keep it real with our listeners. This is how we
I,
roll over here.
I guess we're not going to be cultivating younger listeners then with the way
Nope.
we're heading.
I don't know if younger listeners really want to listen to our drivel travel anyway.
Hey, listen, if you want to be juvenile, Bill, it's episode 69.
Hey, hey, hey.
Anyway, how is the weekend going for you? I imagine very well, I would like to think.
Well, it's my first weekend officially of summer break, so you can tell I'm in a fantastic mood because I don't have to go to work tomorrow, or in fact, for the next 30 days in a row. It's pretty cool.
That's amazing. You landed into a job where you don't have to work for the next 30 days.
That's right. And did the math the other day, and it comes out to the fact that I work about 9.5 months out of the year. I think I'm good with it. Because, I
That's
get
great.
Christmas break for 2 weeks, I get spring break for 1 week, then I get a month. So that's practically 2 months almost. Plus
And
all the other
somehow
mini holidays in there. That's two
you
months.
have a teacher schedule without actually teaching children.
Right. What I don't have is a teacher salary. But hey, I have everything. There's that. So
All right. This weekend we have the grandbaby as well as we have the grandson, if you will.
do these humans have
And
names?
what's that?
Do these humans have names?
Oh yes, one is Sophia and the other is Lucas.
Okay.
And
And well, before we, I know that you were um, excited this weekend to get a second chance to view Ant-Man.
I
Well,
don't
let's
know.
put it like this.
I don't know if excited is the word. I think
Well, let's
they're
put it like
scared.
this. You texted me last night and said you have changed your opinion on Ant-Man after watching it a second time for the better. What was it that swayed your opinion?
Well, Bill, I know people always prefer the short version when I start talking, but I'm giving you the long version.
Oh
I've been
boy.
struggling a little bit this week because, you kind of go onto the internet and you start clicking through, and primarily I like to just keep abreast of things. But anymore, reading the news, it's just so toxic anymore. I mean, it's just like some ooze all over you, and you're all angry and you're mad. It shouldn't have to be that way.
This is why
So
I
anyway, I
try
think
not to listen or watch the news.
I hear you. So I think I told you in the week that I was going to try to turn over a new leaf and then try to exhibit some sort of more patience and tolerance of other people's idiotic opinions, like yourself on certain
Right.
things.
Right.
And then, of course, I berated you 24 hours later on something else.
Right. So that lasted, which I knew was going to last about 10 minutes. So
I'm a work in progress. But that being said, also this is going to
you're
dovetail into it.
47. By the time
You
you
know,
get to the fucking finished product, you're going to be like 92.
yeah, yeah.
Speed it
So
up, Grandpa.
I went to church with Chris this morning, and of course, the sermon today was about exhibiting some sort of patience and primarily disconnecting from the national news and maybe taking some time for reflection and you know a meditation, if you will, for the others out there.
Were there any
And
firemen there? Did any firemen come?
what do you mean, any firemen?
So they could put out the fire of the pews that you were sitting in. You know, so they
Any, any,
could save all the
any,
other parishioners.
okay, listen. Anyway, I thought it was on point and about having this type of just general at ease and peace and looking at things. So oddly enough, I'm going to get it back into why people turn into this for the popular cinema. The kid Lucas, who's 9 years old, I gave him a choice of some movies to watch, and he wanted to watch Ant Man, which of course was not high on my list. And I go, well, we also have Black Panther. He said he wanted to watch that, but he wanted to watch Ant Man first. So I put it on for the child, and I started watching it with him. And lo and behold, Bill, I started to enjoy myself and laughed, and there were some good moments, you know. As an older I get a little bit more weepy. So when they have the moments where somebody has lost a loved one or something else, I kind of shed a tear when you hear the words or thoughts, because I'm a sissy like that. But I guess my conclusion is, after watching the Ant-Man movie, is that I'm going to take it for what it is and not for what I want it to be.
I've
And
only been telling you that that's the secret to happiness for, I don't know, 20 years.
well, see, now you want to ruin the moment, because now I just want to hate on it just because all of a sudden I kind of
No,
moved it
I'm.
over to
Why do
your
you want to
side.
hate if
I'm
I'm
not I'm not going to be in your Catwoman, whatever
You don't have to like
Baz
Catwoman. All I'm
Luhrmann
saying is
trial
you just like
or
what
so.
you like for what. Go ahead, but when you're done, I have some comments. Go ahead.
Okay. But anyway, there was just some things going. It'll never be the speed that I want. I don't want my movies to be all jokes and fun and having a giant Thomas the Train come through the house and have familiar character beats and familiar jokes and tired ass general setup scenes by directors that look like they have no originality. I'm never
I'm
going to be
sorry, but
down.
that
I'm
scene. Now, here's the ironic part about this: is that yesterday I happened to chose yesterday as watching Ant Man for my rewatch as well. So we were watching the same movie at the same time. That's a rarity, I think. Um,
I did also
but
fall asleep on the couch while watching it with the kid too. I was like,
you started watching it like 1 o'clock. What is the excuse?
you know what it is? The kid was eyeballing me too. He was looking over, going like, "Is this old man drooling on himself over here?"
Right.
Just kind of giving me the
Because
side
see,
eye.
I was thinking the secret to because I was going to be all proud of you for having watched the whole movie, not fast forwarding or falling asleep, but I see that you're going to just rob that joy from me. So okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the
I
thing
was
about it
falling.
is, I thought maybe the secret was like having you watch something like early matinee time before you eat like a big dinner and then get all like bogged down with like tryptophan or whatever that shit they put in food is. But okay, so how long were you sleeping?
I don't know. I kind of, the kid was shaming me because I could feel him looking over at me, and then I try to like, put a crink in my neck and act like I was watching, and then I close and then open it up, and then
So you were in
I
and out.
I was in and out. But the point is, I still enjoyed myself and had a good time in the movie. So
Okay.
I have to. I think in order for me to survive some of these crap things that we have to go see,
Okay.
is that I have to take it for whatever they're trying to do. And then, like, how am I supposed to judge this? I had to find time with it. I just don't want to engage in being too positive about the movie, because this is not what I want. This is not the direction I want to go.
You know what,
Just
Jay?
because
Maybe it's
because
not, as again the ancient one tells Stephen Strange, it's not all about you.
it's odd. You're probably the only person I know that somehow quotes not Confucius, Aristotle, Socrates, or maybe even the Bible. You quote fucking Marvel movies. That's what you quote.
I do
I
because they
mean,
speak to
like
me.
Confucius when you say it.
Um,
You're
okay,
like you're like, as it said in 2016 Doctor Strange.
I'm just saying it. It stuck with me. Obviously,
Now, obviously, I'm gonna go see Ant-Man and the Wasp too, and there's gonna be some scenes I'm just gonna cringe, but I'm gonna try to open my mind. Now, for like super fan Carlos, I'm not going to the other side, but you know, uh,
what would happen if just let's say you let go of all your preconceived notions of what you think the movie should be, and you just let it wash over you like a cool summer breeze? And you walk out of the theater as I'm smiling from ear to ear, and you look over at me, instead of wanting to slap me, you give me a big hug and say, Bill, thanks for bringing me to Ant-Man and the Wasp.
one, I will never say that. And two, I guess I can treat it like a general cookout where everybody's having hot dogs and hamburgers. Maybe that's the way I'll treat it. You
Right.
know, it's
And
not
there's
it's not the
you enjoy
flank
cookouts,
steak I
right?
would prefer, or maybe something else. But you know, you went out and got some sort of like Walmart potato salad, and you just got some bag lettuce, and you threw it out there. I mean, it's edible and it's
You're
fine. I'm happy
asshole.
I'm happy to eat something. But I mean, you know, would I prefer something else? Sure, but it'll be adequate. So yes, that will be my attitude.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I watched the movie again yesterday, like I said, and while I still enjoy it, I probably enjoyed it less this time than I ever have previously. I'm not sure why that is, but it seems to be one of those movies that doesn't hold up super great for me on repeat. Um, Now that's not to say I didn't find anything enjoyable about the movie, and I still think the movie is worthy, but it just wasn't like as good as I remember it being. So it's interesting that we've sort of swapped places like Freaky Friday with this.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
Um, but
all right.
just to real quick before I forget, I'm sorry, but the Thomas the engine scene is one of the best scenes in the movie to me because you have them at this like microscopic level where they're like fighting to the death, okay, over this fucking laser beam yellow jacket suit with Ant-Man and jumping around. And then like the big impact is like the little kid's toy train falling off the track. That's just funny to me. I'm sorry. That's just clever. Wink, wink, nod, nod, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like they're fighting this world-ending battle, and like no one would ever. It's like a leaf landing on the ground. No one would ever know.
Yeah, I mean that'd be
Cool.
great if I was 7, but you know.
Okay. Well, I don't know why you have to insult me, but okay. um.
You know what? This is going
Anyway.
to be a work in progress for me to have the patience. I just don't know. You know what? Hopefully, I can do one day is maybe go back and pull some of the clips from our earlier show, maybe a sentence or two, and where I'm probably frothing at the mouth, and maybe there. I don't know. You've probably still been even kill since episode 1. You try to maintain some sort of.
Well, we can't all be on the fucking edge of a volcano, Jay. That would make for one hostile show, wouldn't it?
It would be. It would. All
Um.
right. So, Bill, I go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, um, it's not really the time for me to bring this up, so I'll bring it up later. But go ahead.
All right. All right. Well, that's
I'll bring it up
interesting.
later on the show.
Okay, that's fine. I figured I'm looking through. There's not a lot of news stories out there. Well, there's some things out there. You know, it looks like maybe Disney may be acquiring Fox over there, um, and some other things that are popping off. But I wanted to kind of this article that came up on USA Today. I wanted to touch base on a little bit, and I figure since it intersects with movies, and it goes over something that I like, not so much you like, but I think you can still get into it and get some sort of enjoyment or comment on. Anyway, they did something on the 50 most popular movie villains of all time. And the reason how they rank those is they use some sort of a website ranker, and they also use the number of votes from an IMDb page, and some Wikipedia views, blah blah blah. Whatever this algorithm is, they came up with the 50 most popular villains. Okay,
Okay.
I like to just run through them. All
All
right,
50?
sure, Bill. We got nothing but
Okay.
time on our show. Our fans love us when we go 2.5, maybe 3 hours.
Can we do 25 and then see how it goes after that?
No, no, we'll do it because some of them not require any comment.
Okay.
Okay, open your mind,
Okay.
Bill.
Uh-huh.
Which one is it? Is the red pill the one where you stay in the matrix, or is it the blue pill?
It's the blue pill, I think. No, it's the red pill.
The
I
red
don't
pill. You
remember. It's
think?
been a long time since I've seen the movie.
All right. The number 50 villain, Kylo Ren, Star Wars Force Awakens, portrayed by Adam Driver. You like him as a villain, Bill?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay. Number 49, Magneto, X-Men Days of Future Past, Ian McKellen.
I think it should be way higher on the list.
Ian McKellen is just such a phenomenal actor, and he sells everything that Magneto spits out.
Right. So why is he so low? But okay.
It's a combination of their views, the Wikipedia views, and the rank. So it's popularity. It doesn't mean that
You
it's
know I hate
uh,
these fucking lists, right? You know I hate these lists. It's
yeah, but
fine. I won't do the
but
list.
the
But you know I
idea
hate
is not to take it like a personal, like it's whatever else. I think it intersects with the movie. So look
That's
at him as
fine.
the top villain, Bill.
It's fine. I just fundamentally disagree with the idea of
Their algorithm. Sure, I
their
got you.
whatever algorithm they're using. Yes, because it's nonsense to me. But okay.
L. Driver, Kill Bill Volume One, Daryl Hannah. Do you
I'm
remember L.
surprised.
Driver?
I do. I'm kind of surprised that she's on that list, but okay.
I don't know if I really found her to be that fascinating as a villain. Hmm.
And we just lost about 25% of our viewers listening.
47, Bill of Kill Bill Volume 1, David Carradine.
Okay, dead, but cool.
Did we run again? We ran into him over at a comic book convention, didn't we?
Yeah, about 15 years ago.
He looked like he was close to death back then.
It was the same one we saw Margot Kidder at. She's also DED dead.
Yeah, yeah. His villain, I think, Kill Bill Volume 2 was very boring for me in a lot of ways.
I think Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 could have probably been combined into one movie, honestly.
Yeah, I think the ending scene where there's a confrontation between the characters, you know what it is? It's like a Netflix series. It went too long. It just went too
Yeah,
long.
but Quentin Tarantino is, that's his thing, Jay, where he does these fucking monologue scenes that go on for like 10 minutes. I understand that it's, not our preference, but it is a style for him. And I don't know. I kind of like that scene in that movie. There are some of his monologues that I could live without, but that isn't one of them. I think that's probably one of my favorite of the ones that he does.
Okay. 46, Norman Stansfield, Leon the Professional by Gary Oldman. Not by
Never saw
Gary,
it.
portrayed by Gary Oldman. You never saw Leon the
Mm-mm.
Professional?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's fine.
That's a Luc
And,
Besson movie, right?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Anton Chigurh, No Country for Old Men, portrayed by
Oh,
Javier Bardem.
I hated that movie.
You did not like No Country for Old Men? How come?
I did
It's
not.
got
I
it's got
thought it was
Brolin. It's got Thanos in
really.
it.
I thought it was really boring, honestly.
Why did you watch it to begin with?
I think that was towards the end of my artsy fartsy movie period phase thing. So it was nominated, I think, for maybe an Oscar or some kind of award, and I was like, oh, I have to see it because it's nominated for something. I
Okay.
was really a lunkhead back then.
I guess this is a never-ending hitman that comes after you. Stole money, and this guy comes after you, and he's got no emotion whatsoever, and he's just here to hunt you down and complete the task. I liked Javier Bardem in this role.
I thought
Num-
his hair really distracted me, but okay,
okay. Number
very shallow.
44, Jack Torrance, The Shining, portrayed by Jack Nicholson.
Okay, The Shining is
Here,
one of those movies that I don't get, but okay,
I think there. What do you mean you don't get?
it's one of those movies that we're going to talk about later. Our list of movies that
Oh,
everyone loves and you don't really like. That's one of them.
really? Okay, I'm writing that down on my pen here. Did you see the article? Is it true that they're coming out with a sequel to The Shining?
I don't know, but I think it's a prequel.
A prequel. I think it's based on what is it? Doctor Sleep by Stephen King, his book.
Yeah, and I think somebody big is in it. Maybe Jake Gyllenhaal?
Are we interested in that?
Nope.
Why not?
Uh, I didn't really like The Shining, so why
Okay.
would I want to
Well,
further
it's
expand
Stanley
something
Kubrick,
that?
isn't he in your collection? I guess this is the one movie in each of your collection that you're not a fan of, and this is
There
it,
are
huh?
several movies in Stanley Kubrick's oeuvre that I do not own, so it's not just the one.
Which
I
one?
only own.
What 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Yes, I own that. I'm about to upgrade to the new 4K remaster that they're releasing in October.
What's the other
Because
one?
the other one I own,
Yeah.
I own several, but I don't own them all. There are several that I don't. So 2001, 2010, which isn't really a Stanley Kubrick movie, but it's the same universe. Eyes Wide Shut, Clockwork Orange.
Ooh, Clockwork Orange. You need a bath after watching that movie. That movie is one of my favorites. It's so intense, Bill. So intense. Can you
I think
imagine
you
them
need to
making
see
a
it
Clockwork
again.
Orange? Can you imagine them making a Clockwork Orange movie in 2018? I bet you, I would argue that several of those scenes they probably would not put in any type of remake. I don't think they would do it.
I probably don't think that they would make that movie in 2018. I mean,
Yeah.
unless they put it on a shoestring budget. I mean, look, you'd probably make Blade Runner 2049 money. So that you're chasing a pipe dream, trying to find success with that kind of
I'm
material.
surprised you would like a Clockwork Orange just because it has so much ultra violence in it.
It's a
Be it
holdover from my artsy fartsy phase, and I decided that I had to err on the side of the body of work of the man, not just the individual subject matter of one of his films. But when it comes down to it, I would I rewatch it as one of a Stanley Kubrick collection films, and yeah, I would. He's in my director's collection. I just don't own all of his films because some of them
Bill,
I don't find repeatable.
I've never seen Eyes Wide Shut.
You've never seen it? You should see
No.
it.
Ding, dong, dong. Isn't that the piano scene where they're
You should see it.
and I mean, I like Tom Cruise. I mean, this is back with Nicole Kidman. What's so interesting about Eyes Wide Shut that would make me want to see it?
It's an interesting take on human sexuality. It's a thought provoking, as all Stanley Kubrick films are, on really the human condition and what it means for to be faithful or unfaithful, and the repercussions of basically thinking about yourself in a relationship and not the other person. It's just fascinating, especially considering the fact that Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman were married at the time and then shortly got divorced after that. You kind of wonder if some of the stuff in this movie may have stirred up some problems that they might have had with each other. It's a
I thought
time
Tom Cruise
capsule.
got divorced from her because reached a 10-year mark, and in California, she gets like more than half his property and shit, and so he was like, I can't have that.
Maybe that's true. I mean, we may never know the real reason why, but
Okay.
it's interesting. And the fact that Stanley Kubrick took like 5 years to make the movie, because he's notorious for doing like 60 takes of one scene. I'm sure probably wore them down
Oh,
over a
yeah.
period of time too.
We see how that went over for what is it, Lord and Chris Miller.
Wow.
You know
Different
what?
time.
Listen, Solo. We need you to say this line again, but we want you to say it like laughing, and then we want to say it crying, and you just have.
Different time. I don't think that I think if Stanley Kubrick was still alive today, he would be doing stuff for cable TV or Netflix the
For
way,
Netflix, right?
yeah, the way,
Because they're the only one that's going to give him that money. Because nobody else is going to be like, no, we're not doing that, Stanley. We're not giving you 80 million, and you've already wasted 70 million of it. Just like you've only got 20 minutes of the movie done. No.
right.
All right, number 43, Tommy DeVito, Goodfellas, played by Joe Pesci.
I
That's probably got to be a top 10 villain for me. And the thing about it is, it shows you what a good actor for me he is. That a short guy can be so intense and intimidating. Joe Pesci of all
wasn't
people.
Joe Pesci in the Lethal Weapon series too.
Yeah,
Yeah, so he's kind of made a name for himself with this type of role. So yeah,
I mean it's good acting. The whole idea that you can somehow take somebody like that's essentially like 5'2" and then make them your character be for me believable that you just don't want to mess around with. It's
isn't Tom Cruise? Didn't Tom Cruise build his whole career on the same concept?
yeah, Tom Cruise in terms of action hero. Yeah, Tom Cruise can act.
So are
I,
you
I,
going to take your Tom Cruise ass licking self to go see Mission Impossible Fallout, or are you still going to be all talk and no walk?
all talk and no walk. It looks
Okay.
damn good though. It looks damn good. I'm
Okay.
sorry. There's
So is there no way that you could maybe schedule that in for like a Friday after work or?
Bill,
Any
I'm
time.
so busy over here. I'm trying to put in racks for my garage. I'm doing research on cat bulls. I just don't know if I
Cat
have
balls,
the
really?
time. I don't know if I have the time.
Okay. Okay.
All right, number 42, Biff Tannen, Back to the Future, played by Thomas F. Wilson.
I don't remember. Oh, wait a minute.
Biff, come
Yeah, I
on.
think I remember him.
We're Back
I
to the Future. It's the
I,
main
I,
guy.
I haven't revisited Back to the Future in probably 25 years.
Because you didn't like Back to the Future?
No, I mean it's fine. It's just not
You know, Back to the Future just reminds me back when who's the lead character?
Michael
What's
J.
his
Fox.
Michael J. Fox. Every time I see him, I just think of a different time with like family ties. That's all I can think of, really.
Speaking of
Essentially, like
Robert Zemeckis, have you seen the trailer for the new movie starring Steve Carell? Um, where he's like it's sort of like a Forrest Gump look kind of thing, but he's like this kind of like middle-aged outcast, and then his fantasy life is because he can't control his own life. He has this fantasy where he's like these dolls or these 12-inch action figures or whatever come to life, and he sort of lives his life through. It's sort of like a cross between the Truman Show and Forrest Gump a little bit. Anyway,
I
it's a
have
Robert Zemeckis film, and it
what's
looks
it
so
called?
good that I'm going to break my rule of only going to animated superhero movies or musicals to go see it.
Well, then, what's the name of it?
I can't remember. We saw the trailer when we went to go see Jurassic World, and I can't remember the name of the movie though. But it comes out, I think, this year sometime. Let me see if I can find it.
Or I'll do it. You know, I'm down here at the Hellmouth adjacent, and there's like no lighting down here. And
Really?
is
You
it
know, you can
Minecraft?
buy like a $5 lamp at Walmart.
Okay, here you go. You said it comes out. Is it Backseat?
No.
Welcome to Marwin.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. The victim of a brutal attack finds a unique and beautiful therapeutic outlet to help him through his recovery process. So he pretends to be these figures then.
Right.
Okay. I'll give the trailer a watch after the show.
I'm surprised you haven't seen it yet. I thought you watched all the
You know,
trailers.
oddly enough, Bill, with any more, sometimes I just don't click. There's so many trailers that pop out. I don't click on all of them anymore. I just watch some that seem interesting to me because eventually I'll have to watch it when it comes out on video, and then I'll give it a shot then. If
Okay.
that makes any sense to you.
Sure.
Anyway, um, number 41, Hans Gruber, Die Hard, the recently departed Alan Rickman, one of
Right.
my favorite villains of all time, as well as one of my favorite movies. The Hans Gruber is like the perfect villain for me. The suave, the intelligent, calm. This is my type of villain. Any writer that writes a villain like Hans Gruber probably has me. At no point will you hear me complain about like, oh, Bill, we've done this before. The intelligent supervillain. Nope, this is it right there.
Okay.
Number 40, Lord Voldemort. Ralph Fiennes, Harry Potter. Okay, you gave up
Moving
after
on.
the Harry Potter movie. Did you see that they have the Warner Brothers is putting the kibosh on all those Harry Potter festivals? That
Yeah,
that
I'm not sure why they're doing that.
because people are sitting there maybe selling some sort of like unauthorized Harry Potter stuff, maybe.
Okay. Well, I mean, George Lucas sort of had that moment a while back with Star Wars too, where people were making like, fan films, Star Wars fan films. And I think Star Trek does that. I think Star Trek put the kibosh on it though too. From people making like fan films and stuff because they were basically using like copyrighted names of characters and stuff like that, and they were like not okay with it. But George Lucas decided, at some point that he, wanted to be. Oh, I mean, he just said it. As long as they don't like, try to make money off of it, then there's really no reason why they shouldn't be able to, make the movie. So George Lucas backed off, but I think Star Trek still doesn't allow fans to do that. So I'm not
Yeah.
shocked that this happened.
So what's the deal with the Harry Potter festival? You have Star Wars festivals all the time. You have your celebrations. People dress up.
Right, but you're saying but they're making money off of like
Well,
copywritten
I'm
material.
saying that's one little aspect of it, but it seems like
Well,
they just want to
that's
shut.
probably the aspect of it that's keeping them from allowing it to happen. You can't make money off of somebody else's intellectual property because that's called copyright infringement.
I
You're
got
the
that.
lawyer.
I understand that. I understand that completely. But you have your Star Wars celebration where everybody comes dressed up as Darth Vader, as the
Yeah, that's an
stormtroopers, and all.
officially licensed event that's run by Lucasfilm itself. So that's like their convention. They
Is there any other Star Wars events that take place that's not run by them?
no, not on that level. No,
Was there anything
all
that's in Columbus that's unauthorized, unofficial?
no,
No, there's no like,
no.
hey, we're going to get together and we're going to be doing on Friday down on Olentangy Boulevard. We're going to be having a Star Wars get together.
Yeah, they're called. I mean, there's a thing called the Ohio Star Wars Collectors Club, which I used to belong to, that used to meet like once a month at someone's house or at some public restaurant or something, and they would buy and sell or trade toys of Star Wars, and that was kind of, I guess, I don't know if that'd be copyright infringement. I think, if you have something and you sell it that you own, I think there's some kind of fine line in there, but whatever it was, they didn't put a stop to it. I think the problem is people making like magic wands or Harry Potter capes and typing like, the word Gryffindor or something on their hats that aren't licensed by Warner Brothers and then selling those. I think it's like the mini bootleg industry that they have a problem with. It's the same thing as like when we go to the comic convention and they sell those like that Friday the 13th like knockoff series that you bought. I mean, if they really wanted to, they could shut that shit down because that's totally illegal.
It's interesting
But
because
they
to
still
me,
do
I
that.
find that there's this fine line between like you want your shit to be very popular in a way of people want to celebrate it. I get it that you don't want people sitting there going, "This is a Harry Potter wand," and selling it and making money off of it. But then again, there's also the people that want to dress up and have some sort of theme nights and enjoy themselves. And this is the only way that makes it popular. So when you drop your next movie, that you're going to make, millions of dollars because people want and want to be a part of this. It's a fight that it seems like
I
you
think
you've
if
got
you
a
don't
way
try
to
to
embrace it.
make
Go ahead.
a profit out of it, then I think they're mostly okay about it. I think the problem comes when people try to make money off of fucking other people's intellectual property and they're not having it.
Oh, you sound like one of those people that's sending out the cease and desist letter bills. That's what you sound like. All right, number 39, Kaiser Soze. Also another one of my favorites, Kevin
Never
Spacey, The
saw that
Usual
movie.
Suspects. Excuse
Never
me?
saw it. I've never seen it.
He's one of your brethren. He's one of your tribe, Bill.
We've disinvited him to the gay people's party because of his perverted ways, so he's not on the tribe anymore. He's been kicked out.
Okay, well, Kevin Spacey may be kicked out, but who's the director of the movie? It escapes me. His name escapes me.
Really, Bryan Singer?
Bryan Singer. Yes. Come on. Come on. This is one of the movies that put him on the map.
Okay. You know what the movie that put him on the map for me is, don't you?
X-Men?
That's correct.
That's so sad. The Usual
That's okay.
Suspects?
I'm
You
fine
have
with you thinking
no
that
desire
that's
to
sad.
watch The Usual Suspects.
Nope.
Okay. I feel like this is it because okay, we're not going to go there. I feel like this is the conversation with Melissa and the Godfather. I feel like I've already watched it. I don't feel like I need to watch it. Kaiser Soze?
I'm just keeping it real for you.
You are keeping it real, and I don't know if I want you to keep it that real. I need to find a way to sit there and watch The Usual Suspect. Anyway, let's move on. Number 38, the Xenomorph alien, portrayed by Bolaja Badajo.
I didn't even know who the hell that was. I mean, did we really need to know that person's name?
Listen, I'm kind of reading out some of the names. I want to give the
I
person
know
a shot.
extra number 4 though. I mean, I mean, obviously the xenomorph is a great movie villain for sure, but I don't know that the person playing them ever
Needs to
really
get a
got
shot
any
at
kind
it.
of.
All right, all right. King Edward I, Braveheart, played by Patrick McGowan.
Eh,
Alive, great. Dead, just as good. I think that's
wow.
his line. That's a
Okay.
great line. Anyway, Hector Barbosa, Pirates of the Caribbean, played by Jeffrey Rush. This is where I just want to sit there and just rip. I want to rip this right off this page right off my screen, which I can't do. That's what I want to do. I just want to shit all over this. That's not a villain by Jeffrey Rush. That's just crap. And that'll
Really?
probably be one of the movies I put on that little list of yours that you want to discuss later on. Number
Okay.
35, the T-1000, Terminator 2, Robert Patrick.
Okay. Good. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one, right? You talk about James Cameron coming strong. You talk about like taking it to the next level. Was not Terminator 2 the next level?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's
In
one of
so
those
many
movies
ways,
that
in so many ways, in terms of plot, progression of
better than the
characters,
original. I would think it applies, for this particular movie.
which is what you want from your sequels, Bill. In my mind, you talk about taking
Yeah, but Jay,
your
not
one
everything can be
spot.
some next level shit.
Wait, what?
Not everything can be some next level shit. Yeah, it was next level. It was transformative, but I mean, not everything can be that.
Well, yeah, but it was
Yeah, totally.
cool for James Cameron on that one. Okay, number 34, Frank Costello, The Departed, Jack Nicholson.
Never
Okay,
saw it.
I know. Amon Golth, Schindler's List, played by Ralph Fiennes. Never saw Schindler's List. Yeah,
Great.
that's right.
He's a great role. That was a great role.
Yeah, never saw it. Okay. Number
Bill,
30.
that's just so sad. I
I
mean, it's
know.
directed by Steven Spielberg.
I know. I know. It makes me want to see it now. Terminator, number 32, of course, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Shocker.
The
Number
original.
31, Josh Brolin, Thanos, Guardians of the Galaxy. Really? That's what we're going to
Really,
give it?
I don't know if we. I mean, we're saying he's better than the Terminator. He's
You, you,
better
you,
than.
you can't put it like that, Bill. We're just really just running down because otherwise you're going to get caught up on the numbers.
This is why I hate these lists. Go
I
on.
know you're getting sucked into the vortex. And by the way, the scene is him sitting in space, floating on a chair of bricks. That's
Yeah.
the picture.
Okay.
Number 30, Boba Fett, Empire Strikes Back, Jeremy Bullock.
Okay.
Is everything's on hold with that? Am I correct?
Well, that's the rumor, but I also heard that that's not necessarily true. Who knows? I think the best way to put it right now is it's in a state of flux.
Does Kathleen Kennedy still have a job?
Yes.
Okay, things are in
Thank,
flux over there. All we know
thank
is
heaven.
things are in flux, right? Is that the
Right.
latest word on the street?
Things are in flux. Yes.
Is Ryan
It will probably be in
Johnson
flux
still going
until.
forward?
Yes. And they're saying his movie will probably be out in 2020.
All right, it's an interesting time for Star Wars. Very interesting time. I feel like they're anyway. Let's move
I
on.
think
Number
the
20.
lesson. I think the lesson for them maybe, and again, this might not necessarily be the time to bring this up, but I think the lesson for them may be that people just don't want to see stories about characters that have already been established. And maybe the more popular way to go is to create new characters, which people seem to respond more to, fill in blocks of time that our characters have already been established. It just if I was somebody at Lucasfilm, that would be the line of thought that I might consider going down. Because it seems like when they go backwards with the prequels, with Han Solo, it never turns out quite as well as people anticipate for them.
We've kind of said this, and I said this before. It's kind of hard to have expectations for a character that you have no idea about versus somebody that you maybe played a video game, watched several movies, and have preconceived notions. They're very
Right.
sensitive. These characters become your
Now,
own.
as much as I want to see Han Solo Part 2, and as much as I realize it's not going to happen, again, it always comes back to this, which I also realize about Justice League. It's a business, and Lucasfilm is not in the business to lose money. So they're not going to go down a path that's going to get them not financial success. So I have to accept what the world has told them, which is we don't want more of this X, Y, or Z.
So who
Okay.
takes the ultimate blame for this? Ron Howard came in to kind of save this movie and keep it on track. Wh-
I don't think
Who,
anybody really
who,
gets the. This
who
isn't
gets the
Warner Brothers over here. This isn't Zack Snyder being thrown to the wolves like a sacrificial lamb.
Well, Disney's
This,
more professional and their shit's tighter, but behind closed door, then is this a writer issue? Is this a
I
director
don't know.
issue?
I mean,
Is
I
this
think
is it not fair to kind of single any one thing out, or is it
I
combination?
don't
Is
think so. I think Disney had a concept in which they thought they were going to be able to go back and fill in blanks and tell stories of characters that were established. And I think that you
which, by
never
the
know
way,
the answer to these
they had
things.
success obviously with Rogue One.
Okay, fair enough. But every character in Rogue One was a new character, even though it was a prequel. It was never a character that was introduced anywhere else in the story.
Very true.
Um, So I think the lesson that Disney had, like I said, is that they are probably better off creating original stories. Even if they go backwards and do a prequel, it should be, it seems to me, financially, the world is telling them, tell us characters that we haven't seen before. Maybe Ryan Johnson's trilogy will be something that happens before the events of anything that we already have established. And maybe that will be successful. I don't know. That doesn't particularly rock my boat if you ask me whether they're going to do the old Republic. What happened way before the Jedi, Luke, Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, all of that. I don't know that really floats my boat, but I can see why they would consider doing that based on what the audience has responded to.
That sounds cool as hell to me to do the Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
I don't know San Juan Hill about that, but it just sounds cool, Bill. And
Well, sure, but
I
to
mean, I,
me,
I
I mean,
remember the video game, and I'm up for that. And I'm trying to think here what other franchises there are out there, but I'm always not always, but I feel as though like with like Hannibal Lecter at the time, when people try to, as you aptly put it, try to fill in the blanks of characters that we know or watched for several movies, I always find that to be like very like dicey territory because there's a certain way, certain expectations we have, and there seems to be a lot of room for error in that. And I don't know. It's not that you can't be, because like I said, with like the Hannibal Rising movie, I was dead set against it. I remember having this conversation with you, like, this is just a bad move. Because they're going to sit there and like pull out these like you can just see the writer in the room going maybe as a 5-year-old kid he liked fava beans or something because they're going to do all those things like from the other movies and show you like hey it's still Hannibal Lecter he's eating fava beans when he was 7, you know what I mean, like it's just very simple characterizations and you're just like there's so much can go wrong. And I actually liked Hannibal Rising but not enough to where it would make my collection or I remember anything of it, but it just seems something that uh, if I was in charge, I don't know I would want to do because people have too many emotions wrapped up in these characters and too many things can go wrong. Not saying you
it made
can't. I
15
think it's
cents.
difficult. What's that?
So the world didn't really want to see it either. I like Hannibal Rising a lot, and I
Sure.
personally am not of the mindset that plugging in holes for characters as a general rule doesn't work. I think though the majority of moviegoers, modern audiences though, have sort of said no to that concept several times over. Let's take the Hannibal franchise. Let's take the Star Wars prequel franchise. I mean, you could even really say the Star Trek franchise, the rebooted J.J. Abrams version, because they're not making a third one yet, and that movie's been out for like 4 years. Maybe they will get to it, but I don't think that that's a priority for the studio at the
You
moment.
know, with some of these movies, like when you take Indiana Jones, what was it, Temple of Doom, where you had River Phoenix play the young Indy. I think it works in
But
certain.
also, India, that was a TV show though too. Don't forget that wasn't a movie.
Oh,
Or
there,
no, I'm thinking of the Young
there was
Indiana Jones Chronicles. Right, it was
yeah.
just
like a 5-minute scene.
Right. Okay.
And I think along with that, with the rebooted Star Trek movies, the J.J. Abrams one, I think you can get away with doing something like for 5 or 6 minutes of introducing the character. I think it's another thing when you sit there and actually have like River Phoenix play it all the way through. Um, but anyway, I digress. We'll see. Knights of the
We'll
Old
see.
Republic, huh?
Well, that's a rumor, but we haven't heard any confirmation of anything yet. So
Okay. All right. Number 29, Grand Moff Tarkin, Star Wars, Peter Cushing.
worthy addition to my collection.
Yeah. It's amazing. How long did he really, how much screen time did he really have in Star Wars? Was it a lot?
I'd probably say maybe 10, 15 minutes. Less than Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he's like, what's her name that won the Oscar for like 2 minutes of work? What's her
I
name?
can't remember her name.
She plays Elm in the James Bond movies
Right.
now. Uh,
Judi Dench?
Judi Dench. That's what I feel like Grand Moff Tarkin, Peter Cushing's role is. He's like on screen. I mean, he sells every part of that as the villain, but it's not a lot of work in there.
But that just tells you how memorable he was as that part then.
Number 28, Scar, the Lion King, voiced by Jeremy Irons.
I appreciate their inclusion of an animated character, and if there was one that I would pick, Scar would probably be one of the best. Yeah. Hope Jafar's on the list too. He's fun.
Okay. Jabba the Hutt, number 27, Star Wars. Declan Mulholland.
Okay.
Do you know Declan? Is he popular on the circuit?
No. Again, one of these people that extra number 5. He's not even at the Star Wars convention. He's either dead or he doesn't do the Star Wars convention.
Solo. Wookiee. You like Jabba as a villain?
Yeah, you suck at that. But
whatever.
I do like Jabba as a villain.
All right. Here we go. Number 26, Calvin Candy, Django Unchained, Leonardo DiCaprio.
I would say I thought he had a memorable performance. Sure.
You talk about watching a movie. Did we see that around Christmas, or was that the
That's
next
when it came out.
The Hateful Eight?
They both came out around Christmas.
And we both saw that, right? That's one of those movies where they say the N word so much it might be uncomfortable watching it around so many audiences. Like that's a movie where you're just like, oof. It's like going to the movies with your parents, and all of a sudden, like it's like going to the movie with your parents to watch 50 Shades of Grey. It can be a little bit uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable watching it with my parents-in-laws. So considering that they're Caucasian, and Chris's mother was like clutching the pearls, like during a lot of those scenes when he was talking about, making. I forget the actor who was playing the old guy in the rocking chair, talking about his son and how he killed his son and made him suck his what. Yeah.
She's looking at you going, never again will you pick the movie that we watch.
Yeah. Chris's dad fell asleep like the first 5 minutes, so he was fine. But his mom was not having it.
Number 25, Commodus, Gladiator, Joaquin Phoenix.
I don't barely remember that. I didn't like Gladiator. I did.
Of course you did.
I wasn't impressed.
Did you watch Spartacus also? That's a gay joke right there. You get it?
Yeah. I did, and it's also a Stanley Kubrick movie. So
did you see the new trailer for the Joaquin Phoenix movie coming out where he plays like some sort of like taxi driver, hitman, going to save somebody? It was very intense. He's walking around with a hammer. Yeah. Looks very cool. I like Joaquin Phoenix. Is he going to be the next Joker?
He is going to be a Joker. There's going to be apparently 2 of them.
So the Joker is going to be in Joaquin Phoenix is going to be playing the Joker in the Matt Reeves movie.
Well, I don't know if it's the Matt Reeves movie, but I think he might get his own standalone too.
How do you feel about the standalone Joker movies then? Is there going to be 2 of them?
I think it's I don't want to hear anything else about anything else in development until they give me Man.
So you're telling me there's going to be 2 standalone Joker movies?
Maybe.
Bill, we're no businessman, but do you think that's a good idea?
I don't want to hear anything else about anything in development at the DC movie slate until they give me Man of Steel 2. I don't want, unless it's Justice League 2. I don't want to hear anything else about it until they give me Man of Steel 2.
I'm sure Henry Cavill was just like, "Hey, I've been lifting. I'm ready." And they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna do Silver Sable."
That's Sony, but okay. Point made, but yeah.
Number 24, Scarecrow. Batman Begins. Cillian Murphy.
I disagree with that. I don't think he was that strong of a villain, to be honest.
That's one of those things where I don't find him to be that strong as a villain either. I mean, well, technically, he was really like a secondary villain to Ra's al Ghul in that movie,
Sure.
but he just wasn't. His part is so minor, but whatever. Hans
Not
Landa,
impressed.
Inglourious Bastards, Christopher Waltz, Christoph Waltz, Hans Landa. I want you to know.
I thought that he was a great character for the first 5 minutes of the movie, which is the only 5 minutes of the movie I think is worthy of my attention,
I
and the
want you
rest
to
of it.
know. I agree with you on all of that, Bill. And the thing about it is, I want to love Inglourious Bastards, and it's
I
hard
did
for me.
too.
Because the first 5 minutes of that scene where he's sitting across from the table is probably one of the. It's it's a lot of hyperbole with me, but that's a great scene. That's a top 25 scene for me. That first 5 minutes, it's so engaging and so intense. I
Too
may
bad
just
the
want to
rest of the
watch
movie
the.
sucks so hard.
Yeah, and it's and there was a few other scenes in there, but it just didn't hold up. And Brad Pitt's one of my favorite actors as well, but his whole character in it, it just didn't hit with me. And some of the other things, it just fell flat and was a little bit boring. It was a big letdown, in all honesty. And it's one of
I
those movies
have
that I've tried to watch a million times over. It's sort of like an old Neil Marshall movie, like Doomsday for me, that I try to watch over and over again because I want to like it. And Inglorious Bastards just not. It's just really whatever it is, 2.5 hours. The first 5 minutes is just great directing. You put it in a class, acting, and everything else, but it just falls apart. Go ahead.
I think Quentin Tarantino's in the director's collection. I think I own every one of his movies, with the exception of Inglourious Bastards, to be honest with you. Even, um, wow, this is so embarrassing. What's the first movie?
Pulp Fiction?
No, before that.
Oh, Reservoir Dogs. Sorry.
Yes. Even though it's hyper violent in a stylistic way, which makes it's more of a cartoony. I wouldn't say cartoony, but more of I don't know if it's comic book either, but it's stylized. It doesn't make me feel like gratuitous because I get that this is his style. Um, and it doesn't bother me, the violence in that movie. Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
I own them all. Django Unchained, even Death Proof, which is one of his lesser regarded films. I still
Hmm.
enjoy that.
Okay. It's a shame. I really like that scene. I'm gonna watch it after this. Actually, after this podcast.
You're just
It's
gonna
so
watch
good
the
now.
first 5 minutes and then go find
First
something else
five
to do.
minutes. Christopher Waltz. Did he win an Oscar for that? I like to think that he won an Oscar for that.
I think he was nominated, but I don't know if he won.
Okay. John Doe, the movie Seven, played by Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey makes the list twice. I guess he is a villain in the movies as well as in real life.
Wow. I think, yeah, he was totally fucking creepy.
Yeah, that whole movie was good. It's hard. That's once again, that's a Brad Pitt, and you've got a whole bunch of perverts in that one, huh? You've
Yeah, but
got what's his name?
again, I enjoyed
Morgan.
the movie in the same way that I enjoy Silence of the Lambs. But in these modern times, Jay, the world is, and this is what I was going to tell you about Ant-Man and Wasp too. It's funny that you were saying earlier before about how, it was sort of like a salve to the bleakness of the news cycle that we're in right now. Paul Rudd actually gave an interview yesterday in which he said that he thinks Ant-Man and the Wasp is the perfect antidote to all the sad news in the news these days. And I agree with that.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I need a salve. I don't know if I need some sort of balm on me to
Oh, I do.
escape it. I just, I don't think. Why don't you just stop doing what you're doing? How about that?
What do
I
you
don't
mean?
know if I don't know if I need to take a pill to escape. I don't want to go to the movie to escape. I guess I'm just trying to say that if this is what you're going to give me and serve me, then maybe I'll just be a kind host. It's like when I came over your house and you served me like ribs and chicken and everything else like that. And you had the food was fabulous. But what happens if you would have served me some sort of like broccoli sprinkled with like cayenne dust on it or something? I don't know. What am I supposed to
Then your
say?
ass
Like,
could have drove around the corner to McDonald's.
well, yeah, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? You guys put a lot of work into this. I'll try it out and be,
Well, Jay, it
nice and
wasn't like we were
accept it
giving
for
you
what it
some
is.
weird food that you didn't like. It's hard not to enjoy ribs unless you really fuck them up.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, they fuck up a lot of movies for me. Anyway, number 21, Talia al Ghul, Dark Knight Rises, Marion Cotillard.
I don't know if I would put her on the list, but okay.
Yeah, yeah. Dark Knight Rises didn't really hit for me on a lot of different levels. If we want to talk about movies that seem to be very popular with people, you know what? I'll talk about it during that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about it during the time. Here you go. Number 20, Catwoman, Dark Knight Rises, Anne Hathaway.
Agreed.
Number 19, Michael Corleone, The Godfather, Al Pacino. Yeah, I
We've already
guess
established I
nobody
don't know
nobody's
this
probably
one.
ever seen The Godfather except me in this podcast, but okay, whatever. Number 18, Palpatine, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Ian
Should be
McDiarmid.
higher.
Ian McDiarmid. Eamon
McDermott.
Diarmid. Yeah, Palpatine. Yeah.
Should be
This
higher.
is fully functional Death Star. How's that for? No, not
That's
good.
better. That's
Okay.
better
Number
than your last one.
17. This is how you know. This is why you can't take the list seriously in terms of the order it goes in, Bill. The Balrog, Lord of the Rings Fellowship.
Well, I mean, he had a memorable scene, but that's really it, and not
He's
one line of dialogue.
He's
So,
higher than Magneto.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. You can't, But I think obviously it's based on an algorithm where you're clicking on it. I think a lot of people probably click on it for lots of different reasons. Okay, number 16, Vito Corleone, Marlon Brando, The Godfather. Yeah, I get that. Number 15, I'm sorry, that was number 16. Number 15, Ra's al Ghul, Dark Knight Rises, Liam Neeson.
Put him in the top 50, but he was good.
Okay, 14, The Witch King of Agmar.
Is higher than Magneto. Next.
Brent McIntyre, Lord of the Rings. I like The Witch King. Number
I like the
13.
Witch King too, but really?
Look at your voice. I like The Witch King too, but come on. All right, number 13, Loki, The Avengers, Tom Hiddleston.
Fair.
Number 12, Saruman, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship, Christopher Lee.
Fair.
You gotta like
Actually, he
Saruman.
probably should be higher, but okay.
Number 11, Vincent Vega, Pulp Fiction, John Travolta.
Yeah. Great movie.
This was a time, Bill. I want to say this here. I hate to have to interject this here, but maybe somebody can tell me if I viewed it differently. Maybe you. At the time when this Pulp Fiction came out, John Travolta was nominated for Best Actor, and Samuel Jackson was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I was very mad about that for some reason because I felt like they played equal parts in the movie, and that maybe they should have been both nominated for Best Actors. But I guess
I don't know if it works the same way the Emmys work,
how does the
but I
Emmys
believe
there?
the actors submit themselves for what category they want to go in.
Really?
Case. So it was probably Samuel L. Jackson's choice to go, or it was the studio's choice. In any case, there's no studio is going to have two actors in the same movie go against each other for the same award. That's just bad form. So, however they decided who was going to be supporting versus who was going to be leading, at least they both got nominated. I mean, because the alternative would be one of them would have to be dropped off the list.
I can tell you right now, Bill, if our show Popular Cinema Podcast 2018 edition ever got nominated for some sort of podcast awards, and they were going to go like this for our co-host, for Best Co-host, we've got the nominations. Bill, Popular Cinema Podcast. And for Best Supporting Co-host, we have the nomination of Payne, a Popular Cinema Podcast. I'm going to feel a fucking certain way.
Yeah, that's because that's your ego getting in the way.
That's actually the Pulp Fiction line. That's not my fucking ego. That's gonna cause some conflict. That's gonna cause some
Uh,
conflict.
no, it's not because I'm not going to have the conflict. Because what I will do is, before I will have the conflict over something so ridiculous and silly, is I'll withdraw my name from the nomination list so that
Really.
you can have the
So you could be a
accolades
smug
for
little
like you.
fucker and be like, listen, I just took my name out of it. Okay. Really?
Yeah, you know why? Because I don't need anybody to tell me that I'm fucking the shit. I already know that.
I want you to know I won't be withdrawing my name, Bill.
That's fine. I understand. I do understand. Some of
I'm gonna
us
be like
need a
this.
little bit
Finally,
too much
somebody
detail.
recognizes my talent. I can't pronounce all the actors' names, but what does that matter? I try to give 100% effort. I bring my A game every week. I make sure our equipment works. What more do you want?
We'll go with that.
All right, number 10, Gollum, Lord of the Rings Fellowship, Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis has turned his whole motion cap into
A career.
a monopoly and now a career where he's actually branching out into actual live acting. Kudos to the man. I like that. Putting in a lot of work, making it happen.
I agree.
Um, Number 9, Agent Smith, The Matrix, Hugo Weaving.
Agreed.
Is there a cooler take on a villain than in The Matrix by him with his cadence in that movie?
He's definitely one of the great modern movie villains for sure.
So,
In my
Mr.
opinion.
Anderson. Anyway, I won't try to do that. Number 8, Tyler Durden, Fight Club, Brad Pitt.
I haven't seen Fight Club in a long time, so I
Fight Club is also one of those movies that Edward Norton, Brad Pitt. I enjoy the movie, a lot of good things, but doesn't I can't watch it a lot of times. It doesn't have a lot of replay value for me, but it's good. But it's also very popular, it seems, amongst the internet and the fanboys.
Oh,
As
that's what I was gonna. That's where I got lost at before when we were talking about this. Um, Speaking of Tyler Durden and Fight Club and not replaying value for you, Seven is the same issue for me because of the bleakness of the subject matter. It's just so fucking bleak. And again, this was what I was trying to tie into the whole Ant Man and Wasp thing with the salve thing. I, I just don't get any enjoyment out of seeing a movie in which the bad guy wins at the end in such a horrific manner. It's just like these modern times. I just fucking walking out of my door is like terrifying enough. I don't need to be terrified by my movie. I want my movie to make me feel like for at least that 2 hour block of time that the world isn't all going to shit.
yeah, it's interesting you said about Seven. It doesn't have a lot of replay value, but it'll be a movie that if somebody's never seen before, I'll be
Sure.
happy to sit and watch with them. But it's not a
Sure.
movie
Just make
that
sure that they have a Valium and maybe a little glass of like wine with it to go with it, so that they, they realize, it's all going
you
to be
know,
okay.
but obviously, I don't have a problem with this with like Hannibal or Silence of the Lambs. There's just certain things that certain movies, the way they're directed, it's just easier for me to deal with, and it's enjoyable, even though some things are violent. But the Seven is there's some bleakness to it, but I think there's more to it. I can't put my finger on it, which doesn't allow me to kind of just play it on. Like if it's on television, I may leave it on, but usually I might just leave it on to watch the last scene. But to watch it all the way through, I don't. Same as Fight Club. I can't get through Fight Club. If you wanted to watch it, I'm more than happy to watch it and enjoy it, but I just can't watch it if it's on like TNT or some other station. It just doesn't. Still good, but just don't watch it. Is it Fight Club? Isn't Fight Club in your collection?
It is. I own it. I just haven't watched it.
Yeah. Who's the director of Fight Club? Do we know?
David Fincher.
David Fincher, of course. Very stylish. There was a time where I could. Anyway, moving
The
on. Number
world was a
7.
different place. This is what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm just looking at this headline right now, and I don't want to get into this political discussion. This is the wrong place for it. But when Ellen DeGeneres, a woman who has just about everything you could possibly imagine, including like all the money in the fucking world, tells somebody in a public forum that she is in such a state of depression because the world, she fears for what's going to happen to the world in the next 20 to 30 years, you have to be like, how bad does the fucking world have to be for Ellen DeGeneres, who is sitting on her talk show every day laughing and making jokes with celebrities, for her to be like in a funk?
I'll tell her the same thing that the priest said. She needs to stop watching the national news and she needs to meditate more.
I
She needs to
understand,
pray.
but
Medit
I'm the fucking king of putting myself in a bubble. God knows. But I also realize that it's really sort of a band-aid on a gaping wound in the world. Because I ignore it because I can't deal with it every day doesn't mean it's not happening. But I just choose as much as possible. And I'm sure there will come a day when some tragedy, God forbid, like 9/11 will happen again. And it will be impossible to ignore. But anyway, like I said, this is not the place. We're not going here. So let's move on.
Number 7, Bane. The Dark Knight Rises, Tom Hardy. I want you to know this is already on my list, so I don't want to really get into a long discussion. I was just not impressed with. I like Tom Hardy, but I was just not impressed with Bane. I feel it's a very just underwhelming character. And not to mention it's about the audio. I know you said they cleaned it up. I just find him to be underwhelming in this role, Bill. Underwhelming.
First of all, Bane isn't really a Lex Luthor or a Hannibal Lecter type of character to begin with. I mean, basically, his calling card of fame is the fact that he physically broke down the Batman by breaking his back. So, for what it is, I think it was. I mean, I think in the trilogy that there was an attempt by Christopher Nolan to sort of give Batman these different challenges. One challenges him on a brainiac level. One challenges him on a madman morality level, and then the other guy challenges him on a physical level. I mean, I think that was an attempt to sort of vary it up. And as that, I think it was perfectly serviceable. I just don't think that the Bane character was ever meant to be more than just a physical threat.
Yeah, oh, he's just nothing more. Anyway, number 6, Sauron, Lord of the Rings Fellowship, portrayed by Salah Baker.
It's an eyeball.
Well, they're showing him in his full armor in the picture, so it's
Okay, that's from the fucking prologue. So out of a
listen.
9-hour
The
film,
annual Wikipedia page views are 829,000. That's how many people
sure.
are clicking on Sauron, Bill, each
Sure,
year.
because you know why, Jay? Because Wikipedia is a part of the internet, and the internet is part of the great leveler of the universe. Because anybody who has a fucking iPhone or a track phone or whatever can click on a fucking website and vote for something. Doesn't mean it's right or legit. I hate these lists.
Number 5, Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs, Anthony
Agreed.
Hopkins. Number 4, Warden Norton, The Shawshank Redemption, Bob Gunton.
I don't remember who that character was, but I've seen the movie
He's the
a couple of
Warden.
times.
Here you go. Number 3, Two-Face, The Dark Knight, Aaron Eckhart.
Ugh. Wow.
Whatever. Number 2, a lot of love for Nolan, The Dark Knight, Joker, Heath Ledger.
I don't drink the Heath Ledger Kool-Aid. I'm sorry. It's not my flavor.
You're not drinking that?
I'm not. I never have.
I do have to admit, I was drinking the Kool-Aid when he slammed that guy's head into a pencil, though. I thought that was kind of, that's not what I expect from my superhero villains when they shove a pencil through somebody's head. You actually
Well,
have my attention.
that's the
Because
reason
I
why
could tell you right now, when we go see Ant-Man and Wasp, that
nobody's going
villain,
to get their
whatever.
head slammed on with a pencil.
Yeah, yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. There's going
I
to be
don't
no
need that.
hands chopped off. There's going to be no deaths. There's going to be no
There'll be deaths.
no shrapnel, no collateral damage, nothing like that. Um, Number 1, what's the one villain we haven't mentioned, Bill?
Darth Vader.
You got it. Star Wars, portrayed by David
That's a
Prowse.
no-brainer.
Annual Wikipedia page views, 26 million.
All right,
Can't
are we
fuck
done
with
with
the
this list
Vader,
now?
man. You know what? You sound like I made you drink castor oil and take some sort of
I
like
don't like
baking
these
soda.
lists. I think these lists are illegitimate. I've explained that to you. I don't like this because
You can
you know why
compartmentalize. I mean, all you had to do was just sit there and go, "I'm giving you a name of villains in movies, like or
I
dislike or
and
explain."
I humored you, but I don't have to like it.
Humor me, you humor me.
Because you know why, Jay? Because your list is totally different than that list. My list is totally different than that list. And I don't know what makes that list, because of the 28 million views or whatever, more valid than our individual lists. This is what I'm saying. I can't hate lists like this because everything about movie going is totally subjective. And one man's trash is another man's treasure. We've gone through this a million times. That's why.
All right, let's move on. You got
But
it
you
out
know
of your
what?
system.
While we're on this, actually, let me just follow up with this one thought that I've been thinking about a lot lately, related tangentially to this subject. I have decided that I think that I am done with film criticism as a whole. That
You're done.
means,
So you're done with the show.
really,
This is news to me.
this is, this is the exception I will make in my life because it's attached to you and, our friendship. But outside of that, I'm done. Like, I'm not reading film reviews anymore of any kind, not even Ain't It Cool News, which was the last holdout for me.
By the way,
Or,
you know I haven't gone to Ain't It Cool News in like several months, Bill. I don't
well,
even
because
click on
you're
that
you're a
website.
Harry hater now, right? Because
No, I'm
Harry.
not a Harry hater. I just find that that site is never like they seem to be doing
It's
like.
not. It's not recovered. It's probably not going to recover to the level it ever was before from the Harry scandal. So, I mean, it's probably just going to be hanging on until it disappears eventually.
All
But
right, go ahead. So
okay.
continue.
Anyway, like Slash Film, all the film bloggers, I'm just done. And that includes, like, when I scroll down my Twitter and I see like headlines like, Marvel does it again with Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm so fucking tired of it. I'm so tired of the whole divisiveness over stuff that I like being dredged through the mud by people who are supposed to be fans of these things. If you don't like it, spare the rest of the fucking world for Christ's fucking sake, and don't go on Twitter for 6 months after something, or a year after something, or 10 years in the case of the prequels, or 20 years in the case of the prequels after something, and still fucking say how much it sucks. I just, I'm so done. I just don't fucking care anymore. I mean, here's the thing. I'm also tired of explaining, or which I really don't do anymore outside of this show, explaining to people reasons why I like what I like. I'm tired of that. You're never going to convince somebody for some reason that doesn't like what you like to like it. It's a losing battle. It's a waste of time. You're never going to change somebody's mind who likes pink and force them to like blue by the force of your own will. It's just not going to happen. That's not how people work. And that's okay. It's okay for me to like something and somebody else not to like something. I think it's also okay for me to say, I don't really need to hear a 20-minute dissertation about why you don't like it. I also really don't really want to hear a 20-minute dissertation about why somebody else really likes what I like. I like what I like. That's it. I really don't want to get into why. Sometimes it's just because I like it.
Okay, I have some questions.
Sure.
Down in front, yeah. Payne, Sun News.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Remember, I'm Sarah Huckabee Sanders in this, so I might have and Trump-like responses. Depends on the question.
Yeah,
But
Payne Costa. Oh.
Okay.
My
Shoot.
question to you is, so you're having trouble with these critics and their divisiveness and their negative. Are you going to be reading the positive reviews of things that you do like?
No. You know why? I no longer care. I no longer care that other people like things that I like either. It's just not
So,
essentially important to me. Because even with movies that I like, I find oftentimes the reasons why I like them are different from the reasons why other people like them. And that's fine, but the things that I like about them are often not the things that other people do, even if they're both on the same general spiel of it.
don't
I
you find
just
some sort
don't.
of value in something like, let's say you like the Solo movie, okay?
Yes.
And I didn't, and let's just say a majority of the other people didn't as well.
Okay.
But you read a review of somebody that did like it, and it may kind of point out some things that you might have missed or you didn't really think about it, and it adds more to your enjoyment because you're like, oh, I didn't notice that, I didn't see that, but that's a good point. That's a callback to another movie that I didn't even think about. Isn't there some sort of
I
value to reading something to help, you know, I don't
Yes,
know.
I do find value in reading about informational things about the movie, like factual things about, like, when Screen Rant does those like 20 things you missed in Han Solo things. I do find value in that. What I don't find value in um is people like, again, it's more of the opinion pieces, the op-ed stuff. It's more of like the whole criticism angle of it, even if it's positive. I'd rather just you tell me some stuff. Information. Give me the information. Feed me the facts. Just the ones and the zeros. That's what I like. I like to be informed about the movie, but I don't like to hear the opinion stuff. And that's a change for me. That, but I think I'm exhausted about other people's opinions. I'm just exhausted with it. Like, I just don't need it. You know what I mean?
It's just odd. This is what the internet has done here. We all have access, and everybody is shouting out their opinion, and now it's chasing you into a, a, a smaller, deeper corner of your place. Yeah.
Well,
You used to
I
be able
just find like
you were on your front porch, you were in your living room, and now you're in your basement somewhere. This is where you're at now.
I'm going to send you an article called "Star Wars Fandom is Broken," and it has been for a long time. I think I might have already sent you the article. I'm not sure, but I'll go and resend it to you because it encapsulates a lot of why I feel like the way I feel. It's just there's so much. I think it's the over analyzation also. I mean, it doesn't. Not everything has to. And this is, again, this is something I used to do. When we first started this show, I used to have notebooks of notes that I would take over the pros and the cons of each movie. Um, I'm tired of myself doing that. Okay, I'm tired of overanalyzing things in my own mind. I just want to go sit down, have some fucking popcorn, enjoy the 2 hours, and walk away until the next time I see that particular movie or the next movie, or rent the or buy the Blu-ray of it. And I'm perfectly willing to have a pros and cons conversation with somebody whose opinion I still value. You're like one of two people on the planet, so consider yourself honored.
You're officially
Um,
you're officially becoming a simpleton. That's great for you. You're
it's fine.
you're you're slowly rolling into old age where you're just like this. Yeah, whatever. The food fell on the floor. Just pick it up and put it back on the plate. It's good. Yeah, yeah. That's where you're at right now.
I just think, I think some of the over analysis and some of the breaking down and some of the loud negativity has sort of taken some of the fun out of going to the movies for me. And I want that to stop because that is not, I don't want that aspect plaguing something that I love so much, which is one of the things I look forward to most in my life. I just don't want the negativity around it.
Maybe we can do when we see Ant-Man and we talk about it in the next movie, we can do a negative free show. I don't know how that's going to work because you're
No,
going to
because that's
ask me going.
bullshit.
They're going to be like this. So Jay, tell me what you enjoyed about Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I'm going to go like this. I really like Paul Rudd and his acting. You'd be like,
No,
that's great. I like that too. Is there anything else? And I'm like this. That's it for me. It was very good acting
no,
by Paul Rudd.
no, no,
I
no,
won't say anything negative. I'll just say it
no,
all very
no,
positive.
because that's bullshit and that's not genuine. Okay. If I want your negative free opinion, I mean, I don't want that because that's not real. I want you to tell me how you really feel. Now, could I ask you to maybe take it down to a 5 sometimes when you're like a 27? Sure. Absolutely. Sometimes I feel
Bill,
like you're going to
they're
eat my
reading my
face off.
right in front of my eyes.
Right. So, yeah, but like I said, you're one of the few people whose opinions I would want to hear. But faceless, nameless
See.
opinions
Do
behind a
you think
keyboard on an internet is not something that appeals to me anymore.
do you think that maybe you were um I don't know, you were kind of taking in those when you're reading those reviews, you're taking it to heart? Because I want you to
No,
know that I read the reviews, positive, negative, whatever else, I just read them. And one of the few things that wash over me like water off a duck's back, it's those. Because I just read it and I just try to search out the information that I want. Like I can sift through like a first showing when they're like, "Hey, here's a trailer of some movie that looks very interesting. Looking forward to watching this one. Tell us what you think." They
it,
put their opinion in, they review it, and then they say their two piece on a trailer, and then I'll watch the trailer, and then I'll make my own determination. But I don't sit there and fault somebody for expressing themselves. I don't, if they
no,
sit there and
I
go,
don't
"This
either.
trailer sucks," I go, "That's fine. I'm still going to watch it, and then I'll reach my own conclusion." But I don't,
Listen, this isn't.
I don't internalize it.
I don't internalize it either. This isn't some kind of like Russian gulag, okay, where I think no one should have. This isn't George Orwell's 1984 or George Lucas's THX 1138, where people aren't allowed to have free thinking. Okay, it's fine. I can also, however, opt out of listening or hearing it if I don't want to. I'm not telling them to shut up. I'm just telling them to get off my timeline. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying. They can
All
feel
right.
free to have their film criticism blogs and all of their,
This is just a way
websites.
of you kind of closing down there's too much negativity in the world, and this is your way of just trying to disconnect from it.
I am. I am trying to get away, like I said, from being bogged down with a lot. I mean, Jay, it's like, if you go into a room and there's 100 people in the room and 80 people shout at you, "You're ugly." Okay. And 20 people are shouting at you, "No, you're not. You're handsome." Which voices do you think you're going to hear more? And how do you think that might affect you when you leave that room? If you'd listen to it over and over and over again, year after year, week after week, day after day, hour after hour,
Well,
after a
that's what
while, that might fucking wear you down, right? That's
yeah,
how I feel. I feel like I'm worn down with some of it,
I've been doing
and
that
I
to you
don't want to
for
feel that way.
years.
Say what? I
That
cut out.
for years. I've been
Whatever.
yelling at you like that for years, Bill.
Yeah, you, which is fine. Again, you're not a nameless, faceless person sitting behind a keyboard in somebody's basement. I know there's more to you than your crazy, violent vitriol.
Yeah. That's so sad. The trolls have won, huh? That's what you're telling me? The trolls have
I'm
won?
telling you, no, I'm telling you the trolls like, wow, I'm just full of these movie things today. Like Neo and The Matrix Revisited, I finally realized, there are other ways to win besides fighting.
Hmm. And this is probably as a result of the Star Wars backlash that's caused you to get to this point.
I would say it's definitely contributed to it, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So actually, Star Wars at a point before the prequels came out, everybody was in a happy place.
Well, yeah, everybody was on the same page, sure.
on the same page. Oddly enough, the greatest thing that they wanted was additional Star Wars movie is also the thing that has torn them all apart.
Exactly.
That's the one thing they always wanted was we want more of this, and they finally got it. And then half of you were sitting there going like, "This is great," and then the other half was like, "Fuck this." And there you are, Civil War, North
You
and
know
South.
why? Because people are never fucking satisfied. That's why. Because again, it's like the fucking Matrix when the fucking architect says, "We tried to create a paradise for the fucking people with the battery brains. We tried to make the world a fucking utopia, but you know what? They rejected it and they all died off because the humans need to live in a state of misery in order to feel fucking worthy. So, we created the fucking Matrix." In which there are problems and shit and people die and whatever because that's the only way these fuckers understand
No, that's interesting.
human fucking
I'm
misery.
probably getting there with. I'm struggling out with just general news and clicking on the websites because like I'm a purveyor of information.
Right.
Whether it's the life section or the technology section or the money section or sports, I'm always going from one section to the next, one category, trying to look at information. Unfortunately, anymore, the information and the headlines out there, it just seems so toxic to where I just want to read about like, ooh, the latest development from Amazon. Hey, start your own startup company. Guess what we're dropping? We're dropping a new phone. Ooh, great. What's going on? New movie coming out. Now it's all like this. Nuclear bombs coming your way. President Trump says he's going to put blacks in chains. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? No food and water. Taxes going up high. Great. I don't know. It's just all very like, what's going on? Is it? Oh, it
So
seems.
how do you disconnect from the negative and maintain your enthusiasm for just general life? Because I want to live, I'm sure you want to live,
I'm
but the state of the
still,
world.
in all honesty with you, I'm still struggling with trying to find a way to stay informed, but realizing you're just one man in the cog, and I don't know. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it, and I
Yeah, I
haven't
mean,
figured it out.
I
But
have.
I do realize that the vitriol that's out there, it's not healthy, and so I don't know if I want to contribute to that. And so, you know, I don't know. It's a very
I
interesting time.
yeah, I
But
mean,
it's oddly enough, the vitriol that I have, like that deals with like with the movies and whatever else, I don't take that to be. I take that to be more entertainment, if you will, um, and trying to find a way to direct the studio heads to move from one direction or to the next. You're trying to change the tide or whatever else like that. Now it gets a little bit overboard when the people are talking about how this has ruined their whole childhood or something else like that. There's a level of just ridiculousness. I want to sit there and write something about Luke Cage, but what do I want to take it to? I just want to sit there and say, hey, by the way, you guys need to cut these episodes from 13 down to 7. Shit's going way too long. It's terrible writing towards the end, and it's just cliche. Is that wrong? Do I
no,
push it out there?
no. It's
You know,
what?
that's
As long as
fine. But I'm
it's
not sitting there going like, I'm sending death threats over to Netflix and saying this is. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
right.
I'm
I mean,
digressing.
I'm way like your place where you are with world news today is where I was with world news maybe 15 years ago. Like I've way since tried to narrow my purview, excluding a lot of that stuff because that was overwhelming to me, and it just seems like the negativity in the world. Watching the evening news and reading the newspaper, or whatever, I had to tune that stuff out. So my sanctuary was narrowing it down to like my Twitter timeline, in which I tried to cater the news to only stuff I wanted to I was interested in reading about. And now that has gotten to the point where the news cycle in general, I think the whole fucking world is on some kind of negative spiral. I really do. Even on my Twitter movie timeline now, I've got to go and filter out that other the bullshit. Whereas
Oh,
that used to be my filter.
yeah, it seeps in. It seeps in.
I
It's
don't know how
interesting.
you
So,
solve that.
so we're heading towards the Purge. Are you going to give the Purge TV series some time here? Because you're going to have to learn how this is going to go down.
Hell no.
It's going to be a
No. I don't. I think that's all very bizarre. I don't understand the
the
whole.
Purge company. Lucky we're getting older here, so we've got some useful years in before the rest of these people here. You have to start, I mean,
I
at
don't
your
know.
household, I bet your husband will be ready for the Purge. He's already got locked doors, steel
Oh, sure.
shades, cameras.
Sure.
He's ready to rock and roll down there.
Yes, he is ready to rock and roll, but that's not how I roll. So I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, you're just going to be fresh meat for the grinder when the Purge comes. You're going to be one of those
Wow, really?
pacifists going around.
Really?
All
And what are
right,
you
let's.
gonna get rid of them with? Baseball bat? I mean, really? What are you gonna drive off the
Bill,
fucking
I
courts
am
of?
an angry black male. I am a walking weapon.
Wow, that shit don't last so long. Never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. Okay.
All
All
right,
right.
let's move on. What do what do you want to do here? You want to keep going? We got any other news? You want to wrap it up? What do you want to do?
I have about 27 more minutes. If you want to fill it with some time, we can. If not, we
That
can wrap
doesn't
it
make
up.
our audience feel good about themselves when you're just like, oh, you're just going to fill the time here. You're like, what
No,
is this?
we can continue. We can. I mean, we don't really have an agenda. That's kind of our thing. So, I mean, there's probably things we could probably talk about. So
You
yeah,
didn't
we can
tell me
keep
you
going.
saw Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
I
How
did.
was
I
it?
liked it. I didn't like it as much as Fallen or Jurassic World One. Um, I think that it's sort of the middle film in this current trilogy in which they sort of do a little bit of doggy paddling, but the concept at the end of the second one really sort of leads you to see that they're really going to make the third one something different if they, which they already have greenlit a third one, so I guess there's not really an if. Plus, it's a hit, so I don't think we have to worry about they're not doing a third one. But the concept, I think, of Jurassic World is actually going to come to fruition in the third of this series. So I do think I am interested more in where this is going.
Okay. What's the latest with the Disney Fox bid?
The last I heard was that Disney had upped the bid from Comcast, who had upped their original bid, and I think they got approval from the Justice Department or whatever department has to give approval for these kinds of things. Um, but I think there's some kind of big vote going on the 10th of July, and I think that's supposedly when we'll probably get our first clue as to whether this is going to happen or not.
Is word on the street that Kevin Feige already has a plan on how to incorporate these things, or they're just waiting to see if this all things, or is
I
this
would
going to?
not bet against the fact that Kevin Feige has probably had a plan about this since way before they ever announced it. I told you, I think the whole reason they dumped Inhumans is because they think they're going to get X-Men back, and they didn't want such a similar concept, competing with each other in their movie universe. So I would imagine that the big news is going to come whenever, because they Marvel has already pulled out of Comic Con this year. The only people that are really big that are going to be at Comic Con this year, because Fox pulled out, also HBO pulled out, Netflix I think pulled out, um, is really Warner Brothers. So if they really play their cards right at Comic Con, I think they can really have like unfettered hype for their upcoming slate. Aquaman, Wonder Woman 2, they need to come out with like what they did with Justice League. A full trailer for Aquaman, a teaser trailer for Wonder Woman 2, or a teaser trailer for Shazam. They should just have like a massive panel for all three of those films at Comic-Con, because there's really no one else to compete with them. Everyone else has already skipped it.
So this is their time. This is their time to put their stamp down.
Yeah, if they could really use this as a block of time to build anticipation for their shit. But as we know, it's a shit show over there at Warner Brothers, so who the fuck knows if they'll take advantage of it or not. But Kevin Feige and Disney, I think, have indicated that they're sort of going to move it to their. Remember how they did Phase 3, the announcement? They just had like a theater in Hollywood, and they just had like their whole like slate for the next 10 years, like up on the wall. That's where we first got notification about Infinity War, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, all of that. They trotted Chadwick Boseman out on the stage with Chris Pratt and Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth. Do you remember that event?
I do.
Okay. I think that's what they're going to do for Phase 4 as well. I think they're going to do their own sort of like private announcement outside of a convention, which is cool. But I would imagine that it's going to be like this is in my like cream of like fantasy things. Like if they have Kevin Feige come out and be like Phase 4, Fantastic Four, fuck yeah, that would be fucking awesome. But we'll see. But I'm still looking forward to Comic Con because Warner Brothers is going to be there, and I do want to see Aquaman's trailer and Shazam as well.
Do you ever think we'll do a comic book convention again?
I don't think so. I think I'm moving away from being in public places with masses of people. How about you?
The geeks rarely cause any trouble. I I hear you. All right. So a new poster dropped for M. Night Shyamalan's movie Glass coming out next year, 2019 January. If
Oh,
you
the
haven't seen the
year
poster,
2019 is going to start out with a bang, and it's only going to get better from there.
Listen, I have pictures and everything else. I do have to admit that if you ever check out the poster for Glass right now, the initial one with the characters on it, with the purple and the yellow and the green, it just looks really cool. And I feel as though
I don't know how I feel about the concept of them all being sort of like institutionalized, like in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or something. I don't know how that is going to play out. I think that's kind of a weird stretch. But I'm totally down for the whole trilogy capper of More Unbreakable. Fuck yeah.
I feel like this is like a Terminator 2 for them, where they have enough goodwill bought up from like Unbreakable and Split that it's time now. Like everybody's just like, okay, if we weren't on board, we're on board now. Where's it going?
But that's the other thing, is that the trailer is going to debut for Glass at Comic-Con. So that's another thing to look forward to at Comic-Con. Which, by the way, is, I believe, the third week of this month. I think it starts the 23rd. Hold on a second. I'll find out. I know it starts the 20th, which is a Thursday, I think.
Oh, so there's going to be a lot of news dropping. A lot of news dropping, Bill.
Yeah, July 20th is a Friday. So Comic-Con is the 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So it usually is at least, good for some news drops.
So what's the latest with you and the Disney standalone what is it? PlayStation, Netflix, what do you call it? Their own network.
News this week, as far as streaming services go, is that DC Universe was sort of announced, and they dropped that Robin photo. And I'm in. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm in for the DC service. I mean, outside of the whole, they're going to be playing a lot of like the animated movies that you like. There's going to be original stuff, Titans, which, even though it's a Greg Berlanti show, because of the subject, because it was one of the only comic books I ever read as a kid, I'm totally in for it to give it a try anyway. I can live without Hook or Starfire, but we'll see.
When you come up for one of your movies, you're just gonna have to load up your password, and then I'm gonna have to try out some things because I will not be purchasing it.
Really?
The whole idea is to try to keep my cable bill low, and now everybody's doing one of these streaming service. I can't, Bill. I can't have every streaming. It's got to be Hulu, Netflix, Amazon. What more am I to add? What? Come on.
Well, there's a Disney, like you just said. There's going to be the Disney streaming service, which is going to have.
Thinking about adding Shudder though. That's like $5 a month for Shudder. Shudder's a horror network.
And why is it $5 a month?
I don't know why it's $5 a month because they want people to like take on their product, and so they probably can't charge $20 a
Do
month.
they have originals, or is it all just
Oh, they
like
do have originals.
okay?
Just not necessarily good, but I get access to a whole bunch of horror movies that I probably won't watch, but I like having access to.
So $5 a month, Jay. What is that like?
It's a latte,
Yeah,
sure. One night at Chipotle, sure. I got it.
right.
Also for Disney, for the first time ever, 2018, Disney box office rakes in $6 billion before July. It's good to be at Disney. Good to have their stock.
Absolutely. I wish we would have had some when it was, actually affordable.
Fuck. Fuck yeah.
Doesn't your
Did you?
nephew have stock in Disney?
Yeah, he probably has a share or two.
Okay,
Yeah,
good to
yeah.
know.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. Did you see this Disenchantment trailer? The guy who created The Simpsons and Futurama, creator Matt Groening,
I
coming to Netflix.
saw photos of it. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I haven't been into Matt Groening since 1991. Um, so if it's anything like Futurama, I'll pass.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I like
Do you watch
Futurama.
Futurama? Do you?
Well, I used to. I haven't watched The Simpsons. See, there's a year where they fell off, and it never recovered for me. That once they fell off the cliff, and I think that's when some certain writers left, and it never recovered. And so Futurama, I watched for a while, and then just fell off, and then just never recovered. I still do watch South Park though, even though I know that's not a Matt Groening production.
Right.
Um, but part of the times is actually knowing when these things are on and then making time for them.
Well, I mean, now with Hulu, although I don't know if The Simpsons is on Hulu or not, you could. And plus, oh right, you don't have cable. Never mind, because everything's on demand now. Even RuPaul's Drag Race.
What else here? I saw the end of Westworld. The finale was last week.
And are you going to watch season 3?
I will watch season 3, but this is once again I want to express. I don't know how you do this because it's almost selling. It's the same thing of going like this. I don't like what you're doing, but when you come out with the next one, I'll be there. So
So you don't hate it.
it's the concept that's cool, Bill, but there's problems with it. So how do you get Mr. Nolan over there to address your concerns? Not that he's trying to
How
address
about
my
you just
concerns.
decide this is the product? It is
But if you're
sugar-free lemon lime Kool-Aid, but you really hate water and you don't want to drink all those sugary drinks. So is there enough about this Kool-Aid drink that you like that you're going to keep buying it and drinking it? Or does it outweigh because, it's not your favorite flavor that you want to continue buying this product?
I I I don't like your analogy. It doesn't work for me that way
That's
because
fine.
uh, the concept and some of the characters they introduced are great, but they're doing this whole thing where they're doing a lot of jibba jabba and drop in some fortune cookie shit. And
Is
I
there enough
want
about the show that you like to keep watching it, or does it irritate you more than you enjoy it enough that you
we're
don't want to
reaching.
continue?
Well, thing is, we're reaching that point. I think their last episode like had a 30% drop off, and I understand why. Carlos was not impressed. For every two episodes that were bad, there might have been one really good episode, and then another couple things that were dropped off. By the time you got to the end, certain moments that they were revealing, you could tell that they wanted these to be big moments, like the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones, where people just go like this. But mostly everybody was kind of shrugging their. When I say everybody, as if I know, were shrugging their shoulders. I'm just like this.
We're talking about Westworld now, right? Because
Yeah.
I got lost for a minute. I thought we were still talking about Luke Cage. Okay.
Oh no, that's the same for Luke Cage too, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I reached the for Luke Cage, spoiler free for the people that are still like Bill watching this thing like one episode every 2 weeks. You haven't watched an episode. I don't know how long. I'm on like episode 11 right
It's
now.
been 2 weeks, and we're gonna watch one tonight, probably.
What, episode 2?
Yeah.
I'm on episode 11, and you're on episode 2. fuck. Anyway, um, you have nothing but time over there. Wait. I got it. You and your husband have to watch it together.
Yeah,
You know, you
we
can
don't
always
we
just
don't
watch
have
it
that many
already
shows
on
we
your
watch.
own. You can watch it on your own and then come
I
back and
could,
then watch it again with him.
but it's not that good.
You don't know that. You haven't watched it.
I'd have 13 episodes that weren't that good. 14 if you count the one that we've seen from season 2.
All right. Well, this is where I'm at right now. Spoiler-free Luke Cage thing. The first 8 episodes I enjoyed on an Ant-Man level to where I'm just having a good time with it and taking for what it is, not being critical, just having fun. I enjoyed it. Now, these last episodes, I feel like I've been bored to tears to where I'm like cutting my toenails, sort of half listening, looking up, and because it's dragged on for so long to now where you're just like we should have reached the end now, that we should have already had the final confrontation. Let's wrap all this up. And now we're just sitting here spinning our wheels chasing after the same thing, like setting up this final confrontation. So, like I got to go through another episode and a half before we get to the finale, and I'm just bored to tears. And they warned
Why
me
don't,
out.
like I said, why don't you take a break
Well, if
and
I
let it?
enjoyed the first 8 episodes and now clearly they're dragging out, I want to see how it ends, but all the goodwill that they garnered from me, that they secured from me is gone out the window. And now at the end of this whole thing, I'm going to be left with a bad taste in my mouth. And it's
Well,
going to be for 3 or 4 episodes. And before, if I were to sit there and go like this, you know what, Bill? Luke Cage, I give a positive rating. It's a good time. Obviously, it's nothing I would sit there and say is Oscar worthy, but I enjoyed it and it entertained me, and it was fine. Now I'm just like this. They're upsetting me by dragging this out over these. It doesn't need to be
well,
13 episodes.
well,
That's just
all of the Netflix Marvel shows, none of them need to be as long as they are, except for Defenders, which was only 8 episodes to start with.
it. Just
The
seems
rest, go ahead. Hello, 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 hello.
Are you still there?
Yes, what happened to you?
Oh, that's weird.
What happened?
Something something just drop
I don't know.
and just reconnect on its own?
I guess so.
Holy shit.
Anyway, these shows are too long to start with. Um, all of them. So the concept, and this is what this is the discussion we had a few weeks back, where I said, the whole idea with TV is to drag things out so that they can make a show out of something that really could be done in 2 hours. Um, but I'm going to tell you the winning thing that works for me with Luke Cage. And I've been down this road with you before, but the fact is that Mike Coulter is a very charismatic performer, and it's also this part fits him like a glove. And I believe that he is the bulletproof black man. And to compare it to the other black superhero in the Marvel universe, it doesn't come out positively for Black Panther for me. When you compare what could be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but is relegated to a Netflix show, which has a budget of like toothpicks and popsicle sticks, versus, having an entire fucking $200 million movie built around this actor that's just not all that damn great in the part.
Okay.
I wish Mike Coulter was Black Panther. That's all I
That
can say.
I know. I know that's exactly where you're at.
That's how
All
I feel.
right. Are you ready to move on?
I
How about we
am.
wrap this bad boy up with
Box office?
yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. I go to Yahoo Bill and I see that Russian World Cup fans display neo-Nazi banner after their win today. That's this is. By the way, I'm just clicking it on it just because like I always click on Yahoo just for some general like.
Block
th-
that shit. Block the fucking shit. What else can you
I
do?
I want you to know that this is a long time ago. As I'm going to pull out Box Office Mojo here, and we're going to end this on a positive note with me trashing some movies that I haven't seen yet. But um, anymore, my woman watches local news,
Right.
and I like local news. Now, mind you, we still have to talk about the shootings over the weekend and somebody breaking into like a five and dime store. But there's also like some sort of like old man helps cat across street.
Right.
I like those stories now. Before you can pay me like any amount of money to watch that crap, but now I'm like, oh, this is good. This is a positive story. You know,
Because the world has even worn you down.
it has. For Bill, this is the first day of July. This is great, man. Are we done with already half the year?
Yeah, I don't know if I really want the rest of the year to go quite that
Listen,
fast, but
it's already been 6 months. We're six. Uh, we got our birthdays coming up here. Another year?
yeah, 40 fucking 8.
Listen, I guess a day above ground. Any day above ground is a great day. Is that what they say?
Yeah, well, until they come for my wedding ring, it's all fine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're coming. They're coming.
Yeah. You know what? They may get it, but I can tell you what, they're
uh,
going to know
I
they
I
didn't
want
get it.
I want you to know you're gonna have to make a call right now because Trudeau is gonna start building some walls and you might not be able to make it to Canada and you're not gonna do well in Mexico. So I mean,
Yeah, I'm not going to Mexico.
they're gonna be
Uh,
like, "Are you the
uh,
Bill that doesn't like cocoa? Are you that Bill?" You're gonna be like, um. So for this weekend of June 29th to July 1st, the number one movie, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, pulling in another 60 million, bringing its total worldwide 2-week gross to $932 million.
that is crazy.
$932 million.
That's a lot
That's
of
a lot of
money.
money for Universal.
It is.
That's a lot of dough. Of course, they're going to be
Chris
doing
Pratt.
more of these
A lot of
movies.
money for Chris Pratt.
Got that right. Is the female lead still wearing heels, running around the jungle? She's still got out there
She is.
wearing
That
heels,
was that was Bryce Dallas Howard's choice, is what she said.
running around in heels, out running from dinosaurs. You think that's wise to run from dinosaurs in
No,
heels?
Jay, it's running from dinosaurs. I don't know if that's really going to be a situation that I'm ever confronted with in real life.
Yeah. Chris Pratt must really love her because I would be like, I need you to remove the heels because these dinosaurs are trying to kill us, and you seem to be hobbling and may break an ankle, which is going to slow me down to rescue you. Then I'm going to probably get any. Did they have that conversation?
No, the conversation they had was Chris Pratt said, "Did you see how many zeros went in my bank account? Look at this."
Okay, the number two movie, Incredibles 2, obviously a Disney production. It's in its third week of release. It pulled in another 45 million, bringing its total worldwide gross to 646 million dollars, which, by the way, seems to be more of a hit domestically than in the foreign countries.
That rarely happens anymore. So that's interesting.
Now, opening also this weekend, which I am a big fan of the first movie, is Sicario, Day of the Soldado,
Is that
starring
a
Benicio del
sequel?
Toro and Josh Brolin.
I
It
didn't know that was a. I didn't even know. Okay.
You didn't know it was coming out?
Uh.
Well, I enjoy the first Sicario movie, and I leave it on my television, and the second one looks just as interesting. And I know you just had this rant about the reviews, but I'm glad it's getting positive word of mouth. I don't know if it will live up to it when I finally do watch it, but it makes me look forward to watching it because I was a fan of the first one. It pulled in $19 million on a budget of $35 million. I hope it makes its money. I hope it does.
Do you think there'll be a Sicario 3?
I can only hope, Bill. It's got total, if we can, total $27 million. Its budget is 35. I don't know. It's going to be tough, huh?
Doesn't seem likely, but
That seems tough with those numbers. Also releasing this week is Uncle Drew. $15 million, a story of some basketball players playing old people. Also starring your girl Tiffany
oh, it's a comedy,
Haddish.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
stupid
I think I've
comedy.
seen the trailer.
Yeah, yeah, it's a stupid comedy. Your
Yeah.
Tiffany Haddish is doing everything she can to make that money.
Hey, bitch knows she's got 15 minutes. She better make him count.
Well, she's trying to. She's trying to blow everybody in the club. Okay. All right, number 5 in its fourth week of release, Ocean's 8 pulled in another $8 million, bringing its total domestic gross 114 million over 4 weeks. It's
What
budgeted
was the
$70
budget?
million. Total worldwide
It
is
seems like a hit.
$2
For some reason, I don't know. I mean, I guess you can never tell with these things. Some of these remakes seem to hit with people, and some of them just seem to be people aren't interested in. I can't tell which ones and why they are hits, though.
I would like to point out that I believe that A Quiet Place comes to video in a couple weeks. I do not want to be disturbed. My woman may sit down and watch it for me. It may be a Chipotle night. I'm going to light candles. I'm very, very
Really?
excited for that dropping on video.
Can you send me the screen grabs if John Krasinski takes his shirt off, please? That's all I
Sure,
would really need.
sure. I can send you some sort of internet porn over the phone just to make you happy. We
I don't
can't go
think
to
his
jail,
shirtless
Bill.
is
We
really
can't do jail at our age. We can't be like the cause. We can't be like the
First of
cause and go
all,
out like that.
shirtless shots is hardly porn. And second of all, John Krasinski's our age, so it's not like it's some kind of kiddie nonsense.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying we
Throw a
can't.
girl a bone, why don't ya?
All right, Bill. This has been somewhat enjoyable.
Whatever. I'm gonna
I've
go
got
take a
to
bath.
now look up. I've got to look up a pet gate. I've got to look up a cat bowl. I've got to look up, order some granola bites, and then I got to find a place to get my dog his haircut, and I got to come up with a workout plan before Monday.
Well, that seems like
My
a lot of
night
work
is
for a Sunday afternoon, but okay.
yeah,
I've got to
yeah.
go
And
take
by
a
the
bath,
way,
watch Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Face Off. That's the extent of
night.
my evening.
I want you to know that having a baby in a house is very difficult, and there is a reason why we don't have children. I
Oh,
like
I'm
them,
aware. There's
but
about 5 billion reasons why I don't have children.
every time I held the baby was just like, I know you're not good at this, so I'm going to make this very difficult on you. I'm going to cry and turn my face a bright red, bright angry red, and that's what she
No,
would
but
do.
maybe babies are like dogs. They just can tell, like when there's evil present. They just know. Maybe
And
that's
it's
it.
funny because every time Chris just picks her up like a sack of potatoes. I'm like, "Are you sure you should be holding the baby that way?" She's like, "I raised like several kids, okay?" I
Yeah,
was
how
like,
many
"Oh,
babies have you raised?
no." She's like some sort of like lioness. She just grabs it by the neck and just picks it up and it just drags it off someplace and puts some sort of. I'm just like, "Oh, okay, all right." Now I pick up the baby. Her head is like swiveling around because I have to support it. It's just like falling
Yeah.
back. I'm like, "Oops, I gotta support the head." Do this, try to give it the bottle. Baby doesn't want the bottle. I put the baby down, and then I think the baby's about to fall asleep, and then Ferg does that whole like nervous yelp, like he'll be in a deep sleep, and then he'll just go woof. He does that real quick. Then the
Mhm.
baby's up, and then the baby's angry, and I'm walking around with the baby trying to get the baby back to sleep. Not a
How long
fan,
did you
Bill.
have this baby? From Friday to today?
Oh, the babies might be still here upstairs.
Might
So
be. Have you checked
yeah.
lately?
Well, I'm not.
I
I'm
mean,
just,
people do crawl through windows and steal babies. It's a thing that happens.
listen. I'm hoping when I come upstairs that yeah, well, I'm gonna
Are
hide
you really going
downstairs.
to say that on a TV or on a internet thing where you're like, I'm hoping the baby's gone when I go upstairs?
Listen, my woman's not gonna make it through all a couple hours. She may just make
Okay.
it through the first 10. She gives me a little bit of
Okay.
respect. I don't even know if she's really doing that right now, but she's not gonna make it through all the way to this point here.
Okay.
Not unless she happens to hit the fast forward by accident, and then she hits that.
Then she's going to be like, really? Can't wait for the baby to go home, huh?
You told me you had a great time.
Uh-huh. What time does the baby go to bed?
Um, I don't know, the baby went to bed around 10. The baby slept till about 2:15, then needed to be fed. And then the baby slept till about 6:37. And as my woman went out for her morning run, she looked at me and goes, "Can you handle this?" And I go, "Yep." She left. All of a sudden, the baby started to stir 15 minutes later. I picked the baby up. I went and knocked on the daughter's bedroom door, and I tapped her on the shoulder and said, "I need you to handle this." And as
Really?
I hit her on the shoulder, she did that shrug that people do when they don't want to be disturbed.
Yeah, like she's like, I don't give a fuck. It's not my baby.
Yes. And then I left the baby in her room and went downstairs to warm up the milk. And then that was the baby when she started to do a slow cry, like she was doing this, like, "Wah." And by the time I came back, the daughter was up. It was sort of like an alarm, if you will. So
Oh,
I gave
it's
her the milk.
absolutely frightening leaving you in charge of babysitting. I don't know why anyone would ever do this.
I gave her the
I'm
milk,
scared
and
for
she
this
looked
child's
at me and
life.
she goes, "The kid pooped." And she goes, "Can you go get me a diaper and some wipes?" I said, "Absolutely." I gave her the diaper and wipes, and I disappeared. I threw a smoke pellet down, and I was out.
Wow. Okay, so the baby survived, as far as we know, for the weekend of
Yeah, we were
grandpa and
sending
grandma
proof of life
babysitting.
over to the parents. You know how that goes. Everybody wants proof of life.
Right.
Does your husband ask for proof of life when you come up?
When you say proof of life, what do you mean?
You know, I should send a picture of you holding up a newspaper to him to let you know that you're
Oh,
still
right, gotcha. No, he's good. I mean, as long as I respond to his texts or his calls, within the first 30 seconds that he sends them, we're fine. After
You
that,
think
then he's
maybe
gonna
I
put
should
the road.
respond to him. You think he would be able to tell the difference between my response and your response if I'd be like this? Oh, I can't wait to get back to you, Snookums.
Really? Yeah. We've been together for 27 years. We don't talk like that.
I've been gone only a few minutes, but it seems like forever. I'm thinking about turning the car back around so we can spend the rest of the weekend together and say, "Fuck Ant-Man and Wasp."
Yuck it up, furball. We'll see how long this honeymoon phase with you and your girl lasts. It's already been 2 years.
All
That
right.
fucking frost is coming off that pumpkin sometime soon.
Yeah. Okay, this has been fun. Let's wrap it up. Are you ready for the music?
Yes, sir.
Is that loud?
Really? No, what the hell are you doing?
Maybe somebody's crashing their car as we're doing that. Hey, this has been episode 69. It's been a pleasure being your co-host, Payne.
And Bill.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Okay, see you mañana.
Later.
Thank you.